Hello, and thank you for joining us for this meet and greet. I'm with Pastor Paul, all the way from Ontario. So, welcome, and thank you for being with us, Pastor Paul.
All right, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Pastor, how do you pronounce your last name?
Llewellyn. If you really want it
Llewellyn.
the real way, it's Llewellyn.
Oh my Lord!
Yes,
what is the background? What is the ascendance
it's
of this?
Welsh.
Welsh.
Yeah.
Okay. Llewellyn. All right. So I know Pastor Paul from our times in Ontario.
Right.
He used, when I met him, he was the director for Camp Frenda.
Mhm.
And we had wonderful summers up in Camp
Yes,
Frenda. I remember that lake and the boat rides, and it was just amazing. For how long do you do that, Pastor Paul?
I did that for 5 years, and I just want to say that you were the favorite person amongst the staff. The staff always said, "When can
Amen.
Pastor Rudy come back? When can Pastor Rudy come back?" So they loved having you there.
It's interesting because after you left, I think you went to the Maritimes. I got invited the next year, but it was fun. I mean, that's a beautiful place that we have up
Yes,
there, right?
it is very nice.
Now, before you were Camp Frenda director, you were a teacher.
I taught for 13 years. Most of those I was a religion teacher at Crawford and Kingsway, Crawford Advanced Academy in Toronto and Kingsway. And I also pastored for a bit while I was teaching.
Okay.
When the Ontario Conference needed me to fill in for a year or here, if there was a church needing a pastor for a short time, I would fill in.
Nice, nice. So after Camp Frenda, you went to the Maritimes. Tell us briefly what you did there.
I went to the Maritimes to pastor three churches in the Annapolis Valley of Nova Scotia. And we had a wonderful time there, great people. And then the Lord said, "Okay, Paul, you've had enough of vacation. It's time to go back into camp ministries, youth ministries, and education." And then I became executive secretary at the same time, carrying all the other portfolios, and eventually president of the Maritime Conference.
Okay. And now, what is your responsibility, Pastor Paul?
I'm now the executive secretary for the Seventh Day Adventist Church in Canada, along with vice president of administration for the office here.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question that I've always wondered. Why is it that here in Canada, we don't usually refer to that office as the union, but to SDACC? What's the reason?
Well, we are a unique union throughout all the unions because we cover, I think we're the second largest union in the world. We have so many, seven time zones that we span across. Instead of the Canadian Union, we go to the Seventh Day Adventist Church in Canada. We are unique. We offer our own retirement plan for our workers in Canada and are also our own health benefits. So we almost function like a little general conference, but just for Canada. And we're different than most unions in that we're very streamlined, and we don't have a lot of departmental directors that are paid. We have a lot of volunteer departmental directors. And other unions, they have a very large paid, directorship for ministerial, for youth, for this and all that. We have volunteers.
Okay, awesome. Because we have, as you know, throughout the country, we have a lot of people from other places, right? And they're always
Yes.
asking, so what is the union? Where do we belong? So I like that you clarified that because indeed we are unique. And yet at the same time, we're a union, but it is Seventh Day Adventist Church in Canada, right?
That's right. And we often think that, you go from a church to the conference, to the union, to the North American division, to the GC. But actually, it's in reverse. The most powerful entity within our church worldwide is the local church. The local church
Amen.
is the most powerful body within our church because they are the voting power. They are the ones that move our church. We often think we have a reverse pyramid where you as pastor, you govern the most powerful, the most movable part of our church. And we need to. That's the most important part of our ministry across all the unions, divisions, and GC is the local church.
Amen. Amen. That is also unique of our organization. Now, Pastor Paul, your wife and children, tell us a little bit about them.
Yes, my wife just actually moved here because we just sold her house in Moncton, New Brunswick, and so we're now living in Bowmanville, Ontario.
I
Um,
used to live there. I used to live there, Bowmanville.
yes.
Nice place.
So we went from a very affordable place to live to a very expensive place to live for housing. My son's just graduating from Berman University with his degree in biology, and my daughter lives in Red Deer, and she's a nurse at the Red Deer Hospital.
Nice, very nice. So
Yes,
you have roots here with us in Red
do.
Deer. That's
Yes,
awesome. So welcome home.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, the purpose of this meet and greet is because Pastor Paul is going to be with us next Sabbath, and we're going to review the second part of the importance of understanding Genesis. Genesis as being the backbone for understanding the rest of the scriptures. And so we're going to do our second part. So, Pastor Paul, don't tell them a lot because I want them to come on Sabbath morning to be intrigued. But in your opinion, why is it important that we understand and we come to grasp and understanding specifically the first two, three chapters of Genesis? Why is that important to understanding of the scriptures?
Well, I really believe it tells us who we are and our context in relationship to God, our Father. It also tells us, his power, his love for his creation. And so when we study that, we see a God of love that does not want to be alone. He wants to create and then gives human beings the ability to procreate. And I believe the first two chapters tell us a lot about him and his power and glory. And it also gives us a good context to see that his word can be trusted.
Amen. Amen. That's beautiful. Now I am excited to hear what are you going to share with us next Sabbath. But folks, you're going to be blessed. And remember, the date is Saturday, 10 a.m. throughout Red Deer Seventh-day Adventist Church webpage. So we will see you there. Thank you very much, Pastor Paul. I really appreciate this.
Great to be here and
Blessings.
looking forward to it.